Drew is many things to many people. I am fortunate enough to call him one of my best friends. Drew has a way of making everyone feel welcome and important when talking to him. No matter if it's his first time meeting someone or someone he's known forever, his genuine love for others shines through in his conversations. He's one of the most loyal and compassionate people I've ever met. Drew's the kind of man you can count on to pick up the phone and drop everything to help a friend out. Whether it's getting a cup of coffee to talk about life, or driving hundreds of miles because you ran out of gas in the middle of nowhere, you can always count on Drew to be there.
Well, folks, I heard it's that time of year for my good buddy, Mr. Drew Hardaway, to retire as a state FFA president. Now, when I think of Drew, I think of a little question that most Okies have about southeastern Oklahoma. Are they hills or mountains? Well, Drew is the best person to have that argument with, since he's from Bigfoot country. Now, I used to believe that I was one of the most southeastern people out there, but after serving a year with Drew, I'm glad to say I think he has me beat. But no matter who is, what an honor it was to watch Drew serve Oklahoma FFA with a good old boy attitude. From his corny jokes to his caring, godly heart, Drew is a perfect example of a real person who truly loves rural Oklahoma in the FFA.
I've had the distinct honor and privilege of knowing Drew for his many years in FFA. Drew is somebody who puts everything that he has into everything that he does. Two words that come to mind when I think of my friend is respect and honesty. Proverbs 16:18 says, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Drew is somebody who seeks honesty out from everyone that he interacts with, but he's also quick to point out when he's made a mistake, and he asks that others do the same. He's invested himself and his entire team into making this crazy set of circumstances better for every FFA member in the state of Oklahoma. It is a distinct honor and privilege that we get to introduce to you today for his retiring address.
A friend,
A teammate,
Mr. Drew Hardaway.
Mr. Drew Hardaway.
Good evening, FFA members, advisors, supporters, parents, and most importantly, Grandma. There is something almost romantic about the American Railroad. It symbolizes the realization of our country's dream of manifest destiny. This accumulation of coal-driven steel connected our country from the east to the west coast. When construction of the Transcontinental Railroad began in 1863, it sparked a flame that would ignite the dreams and prosperity of a true United States. It would also prove to be one of the most difficult, demanding, and dangerous undertakings our country has ever embarked on. As the last golden spike was driven into the ground in Promontory, Utah, it marked the end of a 6-year, 1,912-mile historical journey and the beginning of mine. Well, not exactly mine. That would make me around 151 years old. You see, the completion of this major railroad system sparked the beginning of many more just like it. In the early 1900s, ranchers and farmers relied heavily on the use of the railroad to transport livestock, grain, and textiles. The success of the Transcontinental Railroad motivated Congress to connect the rail system throughout the U.S. One such rail system stretched from the Kansas to the Gulf of Mexico, running right through eastern Oklahoma. Seeing this as an opportunity to stake his claim of success, a young Missourian traveled south and settled a few miles outside of Antlers, Oklahoma. With a few dollars in saving and a lot of determination, he made his mark, running free-range cattle between Round and Horseshoe Mountain, which was the ideal location. The railroad track laid along the southern border, and it allowed him to create his very own manifest destiny. Just like that, my great-great-grandfather and namesake, Joseph Andrew Hardaway, began a legacy that would last at least a couple of years. Then came the Great Depression. FFA members, I've heard that story from my family members for the past 20 years. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it every time. I smiled, nodded, and asked the same questions only to receive the same answers. However, that story never connected with me until a few months ago. I think it's okay to admit that this is a very tough time. There's not a single person who has not been affected, and because of that, we are all on the same journey. During the Great Depression, Joseph did what he could to alleviate some of the pain and despair that many would face. He continued raising cattle, processed them, and then distributed it to the ones who could not afford to buy food for their family. Fast forward several years, and his son was hired by the same people who Joseph helped during the Depression to ride on cattle carts northbound to Kansas City, poking cattle with a sharp stick as they tried laying down. A true pope was born from the noble actions of a man trying to help others along in their journey in life. The rising sun is a token of a new era, and as the sun sets on my time as your state FFA president, I would like to talk about this journey that we are all in, and as best as I can offer some advice on how to find joy in your journey. It is so important to find joy in our journey because it gives our life purpose and meaning. Be present. Many times we are so caught up in wanting our next adventure to begin, we lose sight and focus on what is directly in front of us. We often do this by taking advantage of time with friends, or family, time in high school, time to ourselves. We become bored and tell ourselves that everything will be better when we go to summer camp, vacation, college. Instead, if you become present in those moments between camps, vacation, school, and you decide to invest your time into your friends, family, and yourself, you can find joy in the moments that will shape you into the person you will become. Let tomorrow worry about itself, but be present in everything that happens today. I remember an old Aboriginal rain dancing tribe that had made a name for themselves. In fact, there was an entire following devoted to this tribe of rain dancers. All over Australia, from the deep bush to the Gold Coast, they were known. Never had they started a dry dance that did not end with a powerful downpour of rain. People knew them far and wide for their strong rain magic. When they danced, it rained. The Eastern Rain Tribe, whose rain ceremony was kind of hit and miss, decided to send an envoy to the Western Tribe community to see what they could learn about the magic of making rain with dance. The tribal chief prepared gifts to send with their shaman in hopes that it would bring them pleasure and release the secrets and mystery to making it rain. Having made the many days' journey over the mountain range, the visiting shaman presented himself, his gifts, and his request for the secrets of the rain dance magic before the welcoming shaman and tribal elders. The shaman of the welcoming tribe community, whose dance always made it rain, happened to be a woman, while the shaman of the tribes whose dance was unpredictable was a man. He asked, "Mother, can you teach me to make powerful rain dance magic like you? When you dance, it always rains. When we dance, we never know if it will rain or not. What is your secret? Please tell me." She looked at him with a compassionate heart and said, "Yes, I will share with you the secret. It's true, when we dance, it always rains without fail. Our dance is powerful magic. It was taught to me by my mother and taught to her by her mother. The secret of the rain dance has been passed along from mother to daughter for many, many generations. It is an ancient and sacred lineage of rain dance magic. She drew closer and with penetrating eyes looked into his soul, saying, "The secret to bringing the rain when we dance is we dance until it rains." A smile of recognition came across his face as his lips moved towards a smile. She explained again, "We dance until it rains. We don't give up. It always rains when we dance because we dance until it rains." We love to dance. FFA members, the joy of the journey is embracing the hardships. When we can find a way to be present and fully embrace the bad times, then we can begin our journey to the good times. This does not mean that you can't experience sadness or grief or pain. It doesn't even mean you have to enjoy it. We just have to accept it. Embrace it for what it is. Folks, I want nothing more in my life than to be able to give my retiring address inside the Cox Convention Center in front of all of you. But that can't happen. However, I have found joy in my journey to this place tonight. You high school seniors know all too well what this means to you. I know you feel like you've been stripped of your big moments, but I can assure you, bigger moments are on the horizon. Embrace the time that you are in and trust that your best days are ahead of you. Sometimes it takes something so huge and out of our control to slow us down and put things into perspective. Just as the Transcontinental Railroad connected us physically from east to west, it also helped mend us emotionally from north to south. Thousands of men found themselves working next to someone they had just fought against in the Civil War. The men that they once shot at face to face, they now worked with shoulder to shoulder. Pain and discomfort always precedes growth. The final way that I have learned is not about the destination, it's about the journey. The destination may be the goal, but the journey is what gets us to that goal. It's what we pour ourselves into. It's what brings the heartache and the obstacles, but it is what takes the most time. 7 years ago, when I set out to become a state FFA officer, I could have decided to be so caught up in the next thing that I kept myself from being present and would have missed out on all the times that I spent with my friends, ag teachers, sisters, and parents. I could have decided to give up when I lost speech contests, livestock shows, or was discouraged when I thought it couldn't be accomplished for a small town guy like me, and miss out on all the success that made the obstacles and the heartaches worthwhile. When we realize we can choose joy during the journey, we will start to recognize the opportunities to become present and embrace the hardship. My goal may have been to become a state officer for this organization. Now looking back over the past 7 years, I realize it was all the time between now and my 8th grade year that brought me joy. These past 2 years have been the most magnificent journey I have embarked on yet. It's what my parents prepared me for, and I am thankful to have had an abundance of love, encouragement, guidance, and joy in my home. Growing up, my parents understood the importance of giving my sisters and me the opportunity for joy. I've watched my parents go without so that my 2 sisters and I could have all the opportunities they never had. I always wondered why. But then I realized they found joy in watching us succeed. I love them both and hope that one day I can be the type of selfless parents they've been all my life. 14 individuals brought me all the joy I needed in my journey as an Oklahoma FFA state officer. As I wrap this journey up, I must give credit where credit is due. Thank you to my teammates who've helped me grow as a person and gave me memories that I hope to tell my kids and grandkids one day. You guys are family, and y'all made this experience one to never forget. I take pride in knowing that I can always lean on y'all for support. You really can't make old friends. FFA members, your joy is your choice. It is up to us to decide what we will do with that choice daily when we wake up. Will we decide to go through life letting heartaches, problems, discouragement control us? Or will we decide to find joy in the hardship? Be present. Soak up the journey that we are in. I know from all the stories of the men who've come before me and my family that they chose to find joy. And that is the reason why they are admired in my family. It's not common for me to know about my grandpa from 4 generations back, or to have memories of my great-grandpa and the kindness that he carried everywhere he went. They created a legacy, and it is a legacy that I look forward to continuing in my life. Will there be times when I'm bored and I'm anticipating tomorrow? Yeah. But I'll choose to be present with the ones I love. Will there be times when I think I can't endure any more problems and will want to give up? Yeah. But I will choose to embrace the hardship. Will there be times when all I can think about is that goal or achievement that I'm striving for? Yes. But I'll remember that finding joy in the journey to that point will be just as rewarding as the finish line. FFA members, I encourage you to do the same, because one day we will be remembered for how we live our lives.